Figure their autonomy. So autonomy of the institutions, autonomy of the faculty, and also autonomy of the students gets lost completely, and is getting lost. Is getting lost not only in India but also in many countries of the world. These are the 5 generations of universities, and based upon which perhaps we can try to synthesize what has happened. To international boundaries, international markets, and all kinds of other things. So I feel that this is the period where, I don't say slowly, but it started slowly and then rapidly, the degeneration of modern universities began in the late 20th century. So today we have 5th generation universities, and they, at least some of the universities, and the system is getting dominated by these universities, where we have a large number of private institutions. Say even in India, after 1990s we started having private universities, and today private institutions in the country. One of the highest numbers in the world, of course. But in many countries, private universities began coming up, not only in the democratic capitalist societies, but also in the socialist communist countries. Private universities are coming up. I think that's very important. It's getting widely spread. And these institutions have really commercial motives. They're clearly making more profits. Many institutions were set up on business modes, on business enterprises, and not necessarily with the understanding of a concept of a university that we try to discuss. And they also found it very useful to have single faculty universities, faculty of those areas, faculty in those areas which are commercially viable, rather than what is good for the knowledge development and what is good for the society as a whole. So the institutions began profit seeking, and they are getting heavily into totally state funded. I mean, almost all private universities in the country and private universities in many other parts of the world are heavily funded by student fees. There are some universities of exception, private universities in the West, and also perhaps some other private universities in India. But a large number of universities are getting completely funded by the student fees. As a result, the diversity is getting lost completely, student diversity and also faculty diversity, and perhaps I'll come back to the particular issue. And we are having more and more teaching programs, and this is underscored, underemphasized. In the sense that teaching programs could be easily sold, but this output is difficult to produce and also difficult to sell in this modern field. That's the reason why many universities do not have research as a primary area, and they are completely getting focused on teaching programs. And when you refer to the teaching programs, the universities are also concentrated on less expensive one and more marketable areas, obviously, because the interests are completely different, and we have all kinds of institutions now. We never use the term something like profit-making institutions, not only in India, but also in many parts of the world for a very long period. Now profit-seeking institutions have become a legal word. And in India also, I think there was an attempt to make it an acceptable legal policy. The 5th generation universities, teachers are considered as producers and sellers, suppliers of knowledge, like suppliers of any goods and services. Students are considered as not as learners but as customers to whom we have to sell our products. So we have the business of sale, and whatever we produce is the output that has to be marketed. So commodities are produced, and when you are producing, obviously managerial efficiency, financial efficiency becomes an important consideration. Cost efficiency. And today I think nobody will fund any research which is more than 6 months or 2 years maximum. So public attention has also come down, and the society's valuing the research which is of long-term nature has come down in a big way. So universities take up quick research, and they consider the products are open and closed quickly. and rather than waiting for really long-term research, which may have really long-term implications for the development of the society. Obviously, when we talk about universities as factories, autonomy is a concept during the last 5 years, last 5 generations, over a very long period. With respect to higher education in general, we're focusing more on universities. Higher education, in fact, education as a whole and higher education also included, was considered for a very long period as a public good. I think students of social sciences, particularly economics, know very well how important the concept of public good is. Education is considered the public good, producing a huge set of externalities which are valuable for the entire society. But I think we are increasingly trying to see education as a private commodity. It's an individual responsibility. So if it's a public good, the responsibility lies with the society, lies with the state, lies with the society. But if it's an individual good, it's your responsibility. That's the reason why you are paying for your education and you are the decision maker with respect to your education. Education, including higher education, which was based on higher education policies, which were based upon the welfare approach and a service model to the society, is now being dominated by the market approaches. What is marketable, what is not marketable is important to understand. And from public higher education, which is solely funded by the state, completely funded by the state, in fact, education was a very long period a state monopoly, and that was regarded as a very positive feature. While monopoly is not necessarily a term. And today we have mixed and more of private higher education. Highly imbalanced higher education, which is in favor of the private sector. And diversity is being replaced by the features of exclusiveness and equity. From the institutions which are state financed, state financing was an important feature of the old universities until the first 3 generations of universities. Now we are becoming increasingly student financed, and that's also seen as a measure of efficiency, measure of financial efficiency, and also measure of overall efficiency in the production of higher education graduates. Because students will demand whatever is good and whatever is market relevant, and that's important to be met. So from a very low levels of fees, we came to a situation of very high absorbent levels of fees, which are quite often higher than the cost of higher education. In the 4th generation of universities, that is in the late 20th, middle of the last century, we started the student loan programs. But in many countries, including in India, student loan programs were operated by the government, where the government tried to protect the interest of education, considering education as a noble activity, and to induce demand for higher education, and to say that the access of the weaker sections to higher education is not effective. It's promoted. That's the objective of the student loan programs of the last century. And today we have student loan programs which are completely operated by the markets. They are not operated by the government anymore. All are operated by commercial banks. So banks is a loan, where they call loan or a housing loan or an educational loan. So the promotion of merit, promotion of access to higher education are not the motives of modern loan programs that we have, which are increasingly becoming popular everywhere. But I think we have different kinds of motives. Philanthropy and educational considerations in education activities is completely getting replaced by commercial motives. And as already stated, the focus is no more on national development, national issues, national interests, but we are much more interested in global concerns. That's the reason why you find a large number of students interested to go abroad and study compared to perhaps last generation of universities where perhaps many of the senior academics wanted to serve the country, and even though they had the opportunities to go abroad and make money, they stayed informal. There are great figures of that kind that we know until recently. So the motivation of the old type of universities was essentially service, while the present generation of universities is essentially profit making, surplus making or profit making. Knowledge was an important consideration, knowledge production, knowledge dissemination, knowledge advancement were important considerations of the first 3 generations of universities, but I think that's getting increasingly replaced by skills. I think students perhaps know very well there is a clear distinction between educational skills. Education and knowledge production were considered